All right, can you guys hear me good? And the mic unplugged there for a second. Must have yanked it or something. Anyways, yeah, I just want to make sure, do a real quick check. Can you guys hear me good on the live stream? Signal seems to be coming through clear on my end, but want to make sure it's good for you guys. Go ahead and get started here in just a second. Awesome. Glad to hear I'm coming through, guys. And again, let me know in the comments if everything's going smooth. But anyways, yeah, so I thought I'd run through a few things here today. We weren't able to do a daily update, so I thought I might as well do a good little hour live stream. So it's around 8:30 right now, so probably go to a little past 9:30. I'm down on the East Coast, so you guys might have completely different time zones. As always, we got a global community on the channel watching the live stream. Aussie Crypto, good day back to you. The midnight win. R.A. Blum, the thing is, I've been realizing that I think either partially, in the sense that you guys, I don't really sell much with my channel. I don't, sell you guys newsletters or anything like that. So a big chunk of my income does come from ad revenue. And I can't run ads on the live streams later on once they're published if we've got, I think, the midnight playing. So maybe I'll work a deal with them. I love the band. Maybe we can get some kind of partnership going, and hopefully I can play the music and give them a shout out every time or something and still be able to monetize. But yeah, just because markets have generally been down, I have to obviously, and also with what I announced today, which I want to spend some time to talk about as well, just to answer some questions if you guys have any about my new project that I'm going to be working on the side. I'm obviously going to have to make sure to maintain my profitability in regards to this position on YouTube. But again, not trying to go crazy. I'm not going to be selling you guys anything crazy. Selling you my supplement package. I'm going to be selling you guys. What else should I sell? What way can Data Dash sell out, guys? Leave a comment down below. Anyways. Okay, Mr. Austin asked about the snap. What's going on, guys? 8:40 p.m. here on the East Coast here on the Data Dash channel. It's a late night live stream. Actually, the name of the live stream might be, I might have not changed it. It's still probably, I'll have to change that later on. It's probably still, probably an early day live stream. But anyways, I'll fix that later on. Going through here on the live stream, guys, this is going to be a really casual night. Just want to go ahead and answer some questions. I'll try to find some good ones in the chat. We've got a good few hundred of you in here right now. And I want to spend some time as well. If you guys have any questions about crypto markets, let's dive through it. If you guys have any questions about what I announced today, Project Genesis, let me know. I'll try to answer as much as I can. I can't talk about too much, but I was really excited to let you all know about that today, just to put that out there. Yeah, Jonathan, actually, we do want to do merch. I was talking to a friend of my brother's actually for a while about setting up merch, and I never heard back from him. But yeah, we were trying to. I want to get really good prints. I don't want to get, crappy. Like, I've made shirts through Custom Ink before. I think it's a great company if you need to make casual shirts, but I want to make good merchandise for you guys if we actually do that for the Data Dash brand. All right. Jeff Wallace, what's the best hedge against Bitcoin? If you're talking specifically in crypto, I would say other peer-to-peer digital currency plays. So I could run through the list here. Monero, I think, is one of the best actually in this market in regards to some of the undervalued, but well-formed plays in the market. Monero, Dash, Nano, maybe a few of the other privacy coins out there. But I think that having a good exposure to peer-to-peer digital currencies in a few protocols would be good in that regard. Darren, do you envision Nano being a top 10 coin someday? Very likely, yes. If they can, I've heard that they've actually got some efforts to do marketing campaigns in Venezuela, and even though Dash has kind of, I think, beaten everyone to the ballpark on that, I think Nano is going to do very well by doing that. Any currency that's really stepping into those markets and trying to get real adoption. Tristan asked, is Litecoin just a test net for Bitcoin, or is it in the future going to be worthless? Tristan, I think that's a good question. I think that when it comes to Litecoin, that seems to be what Litecoin does. Charlie Lee has, obviously knows the founder of Litecoin. He has a vision that Litecoin and Bitcoin in sync with Lightning Network, and as well as with atomic swaps, that there could be some synchronization where Litecoin could work as a kind of a handicap for Bitcoin in a sense, so they could cooperate together to make payments much more simple, to also have faster transaction confirmations, pay lower fees. look, to be fair, Litecoin itself really didn't change too much in regards to the base of Bitcoin. There's really three major differences that I'm aware of. Again, I might be completely off on it, but the three things I know is that it uses a different scripting language. Okay, it doesn't use SHA-256. Outside of that, it is a faster block time, about 1/4 the time of Bitcoin, and outside of that, a different supply. Those are like the three major things that I've found with Litecoin. So I haven't found something that really has sold me on Litecoin staying around for the longest period of time. I think the best thing it has is Bitcoin being sold is seen as digital gold and Litecoin being seen as digital silver. I think that's honestly what you're going to get. Yeah, Gregos, yeah, we'll definitely work towards getting some coffee mugs out. I'll try to come up with some funny designs. I don't want to just slap a Data Dash logo on there. We'll have that as if you want it, but we'll try to do some cool stuff. All right, MDH, do you still have a positive outlook on Zilliqa? MDH, I'll be fair, even to this day, I'm not in a position where I can talk about Zilliqa. Zilliqa had a lot of people excited around it, and I think, again, it's good to see any kind of protocol working towards sharding or at least some form of scaling solution, because I think for these blockchain protocols, more than anything, you still want to find that mix, and this is something that I think pretty much any project's trying to go for, a mix between decentralization and outside of that as well, scalability, but in regards to decentralization, also security of the network. So I think Zilliqa, I haven't kept up to date with it. I can't speak on it, but I will definitely try to catch up on it. I know people wanted me to do a review on the project. I'll try to look into it. So I appreciate the question, MDH, but to be fair with you, I never really had a set outlook on anything in regards to Zilliqa. Alejandro, you said the protocols will not be the 2019 play. Why? It's a good question. I don't think that they won't do well. Maybe they could possibly go up, but the thing is the space is saturated, and I think people are coming to realize after we've gotten out of the mania phase of cryptocurrencies that, and this is something where I'll be completely fair, guys, I'm very honest about when I make wrong calls, the protocol wars, I think you could still very well have that, and it's going on right now, but the thing is we're not getting the speculative trading side of it because people are realizing that anyone can come together, create an ICO, write a fancy white paper, and sell that they've got the next big blockchain protocol and preach high throughput. It's about building something that you could compare to, say, Ethereum, something that actually finds some new value proposition. Ethereum was launching ICOs. That's pretty much what it was. And the idea of implementing smart contracts and, again, you need something that's going to actually put some of the proof in the pudding. We haven't seen something like that in the protocol space. We've seen a few show on testnet. It's a matter of going to mainnet and actually building applications and finding value behind it. And to be fair, right now, I don't see the enterprise play that much getting much traction. What I do see getting traction, and why I think that peer-to-peer digital currencies, peer-to-peer digital cash plays will be the winner in 2019, is because you have emerging market crises where you actually are in need of decentralized money. All right, the businesses in Venezuela aren't excited about building a distributed platform for some type of specific industry like supply chain. That's not what's catching their eyes at the moment. What's catching their eyes is a means of payment between you and a consumer or you and another business in regards to doing commerce and having a safe store of value, a safe means to exchange that isn't censored by the government, that can't be censored by the government, and more than anything allows you to truly do commerce in an economy that's currently ravaged and has no means of actually doing that. Businesses are adopting like crazy. See what's happening with Dash. And I think it's a major play that's coming up is peer-to-peer digital currencies. Alrighty, Coin Collector, thoughts on Cardano? Appreciate the donation, Coin Collector. Cardano at the moment as a purely speculative play. I need to actually go through. Excuse me, sorry, I just ate recently. Going with Cardano here, I'd say on a speculative side, I do like the fact that this is held at 1,000 Satoshis. We're not seeing this make new lows. Usually with crypto, and you can see this with Cardano in the past, when price starts to exit out of any kind of sort of parabolic move to the downside or upside with crypto, you want to find a flat line in price, and you can usually get short-term rebounds at least. And you can see this here. Once you hit big evens like 2,000 held really well, 1,000 Satoshis. And look what happens. You can go from 2,000 to upwards of 2,600 Satoshis. So I think there could be possibly, again, just my opinion, you got to decide for yourself, there could potentially be a trade opportunity here up to maybe say the 50 days we saw over here, and that could be a 50% trade on Cardano right here. But again, you need volume to come in. You need some pretty serious buy orders coming in at the moment. I'll check on Binance. It's probably where we're going to get the most reliable volume here. Yeah, nothing too serious on the buy side, nothing out of the norm outside of the day after we had some serious sell side volume. So I don't know. I would probably be confident if this breaks past. Let's see what the highs are here. If this breaks past around like 1,100 Satoshis, I'll definitely keep an eye on this for a short-term trade. But yeah, outside of that, Cardano is a fundamental project. It's a matter of them continuing to deliver on the roadmap. Jacob Slatter, Substratum has been doing a lot lately. Any word on this? Yeah, they've been delivering on a lot of things with 0.4 out and obviously 0.5 hopefully coming down the pipeline. When you get the earnings mechanism out there, that's going to change everything. But they've been doing a lot of good stuff. Nicole, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Old school gamer, thank you very much. What are your thoughts about URA's changes in May to I'm assuming that's May of 2018. The ETF is always going through changes. I need to go back and probably evaluate the ETF. I understand over the past few years that I've watched it, they have shifted more away from a direct uranium miner play, which is what some people had as a criticism for the URA video. And I think it's a fair point, but these companies are still industrial companies that have exposure to the uranium sector. So if uranium prices go up, there's more demand for uranium, these companies are going to benefit from it. But they have kind of mitigated some of the pure uranium plays out of it. Like Cameco is probably the biggest one in, and then you've got a few small uranium miners. But yeah, I mean, there's really not many good ETF plays out there outside of that. I'd have to go through and check the changes to specifically talk on it. But again, the ETFs always make minor changes. I still think it's one of the best indicator plays in the market right now for uranium, just at least to get a grasp of where the industry is. Let's see here real quick. Jesse had asked, is Nano ever going to break $3 because everyone keeps selling at $2.75? And we can take a look at Nano here on the USD. Well, Nano broke past $3, went to $3.82, and we've had it be much higher in the past. I'm keeping an eye on Nano here, but I haven't entered back into the trade yet. I do like seeing this sit on the 100-day. I think it's going to go much higher in my opinion, but you've probably heard me mention that before, Jesse. If Bitcoin gets a bounce off here in the next few days, again, breaking through some of the key resistance, I think this will continue to rally, break past the previous Bitcoin comparative highs. But to be fair, I'd like to see this come down and make clear support on the 100-day after it's done the 200-day. So back to around 3,400 Satoshis would be probably around my entry point personally. Hobo King, Monero network upgrade October 18th. Mark your calendars, everyone. Down with ASICs. Long live Kryptonite. Hobo King, yeah, I've heard about this. I know about the ASIC update that Monero had been planning for a while. This has been in the talks, back for a few months now. And I think here's the thing with ASICs. ASICs have their benefits and they have their negatives. It's a very, very, I think people get very controversial about it because some people are invested in the mining space, and you can even find people who are just simply invested in it, have miners, and some believe GPUs are better, some believe that ASICs are fine. The ASICs bring benefits and cons. So the benefits are a drive towards highly increasing the amount of hashing power going into securing the network. That's a benefit. That's really good. We want more computational power going into securing the network if you believe in proof of work. Bad thing is it's a rapid expansion of power consumption. And along with that, another negative is that it makes people who just want to run GPUs obsolete. Now here's the negative with GPUs. If everyone's just running GPUs and people can get easy access to GPU markets, for NVIDIA or AMD or whatever, what company you're buying through. If anyone can do that, it's very, very distributed, and we aren't. No, I guess you could technically still do mining pools, but I'll have to think on it myself. I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. There was basically a concern that if you have it in such a diverse range of GPU markets that can be utilized, and you don't have specifically built miners that help keep things competitive, you could have someone make an ASIC and attack the network. You can have someone who actually builds a specifically built miner that outpaces it. Well, I don't know. I'll have to think on it. I'm, again, having a little bit of brain fart. There's a whole list. I remember I had actually written it down once of all the pros and cons of having a purely GPU run a proof of work network versus having one that has specifically ASICs. But yeah, I don't want to. Again, I'll have to think about it personally. But I think that's good. I think more than anything, it'd be interesting to at least see an exploration of being ASIC resistant for one of the largest currencies. Danny, thank you very much, man. Glad you could catch the live stream. Elmo Plum, what about Dash? Is it really running out of money or is it FUD? Is Dash a good investment in the long term? Cheers. I can't tell you if it's a good investment or not. My general tone is that I think peer-to-peer digital currencies are probably going to be the largest performers in the crypto space. That's just what I've been able to evaluate. Get to decide that for yourself. And I think the reason for that is because of the macro trends going on in the world stage. But Dash running out of money, I don't know. You'd have to look at the treasury. I don't think they're really running out of money. They've got a pretty decent amount of Dash, I think, from last time I checked. But they should have all that public. I think they have that for the treasury, for the DAO. You can actually probably find statistics online about it. Billie Jean says, when the CBOE, or the Chicago Board Options Exchange ETF, is postponed or rejected at the end of September, the market will dump about $35 billion. Maybe that's a very precise figure. I'd like to see where you got that, or why you think it's $35 billion specifically. But I think most of the ETF rejections have been priced in the market. I think people are realizing that something that I came to realize talking to a few people in the financial space, that an ETF process, it takes time. And not to mention, it's not just the SEC. There are other regulatory agencies that play into the role of actually building out an ETF. It's kind of hard to explain, but he showed me a really cool drawing just explaining the process and the complexities that go into an ETF. And also, the SEC wants to make sure that the first ETF they get out, they do it right. So I think the SEC is actually quite positive, and you're going to get a Bitcoin ETF, if not this year, in early 2019. Thomas, hi from France. Nick, hello there, Thomas. Hope you're doing okay. Thank you for making it to the live stream. Clev, glad to have you here, man. Thank you. Another comment from Billie Jean about Bitcoin going to 5,000. Look, to be fair with you all here with Bitcoin, I think the 5,000 question is if you break this line, this rising line of support, that happens, you're probably going to see a break on 6,000 and probably go down there. But again, we're kind of getting towards the point of no return. Like either we're going to have a serious breakout here or we're going to have a serious downturn. It's getting very, very tight with this line of support and the line of resistance. So we'll see a big move in the next 2 or 3 weeks. At least over the next 2 or 3 weeks. You could get it this week, but Crypto Moon Boys, yeah, we don't need a ton of cryptocurrencies. You're not going to have thousands of peer-to-peer digital currencies that actually are used on a day-to-day basis, but you might have more than 3 or 5. You could very well have a dozen. Like we have the dollar, the euro. Now we're focused on a means of nationality when it comes to money, right? And what I see happening in the future is you're going to have a switch from nationality being behind the representation of currencies, and rather than those economies and the nationality being behind it, it's going to be different features. Privacy, one will be different reaches of security, one will be cheaper fees or transactions. Hopefully maybe you can find some currencies that nail a lot of those or give optional privacy. I know Zcash does that. They can have shielded transactions, not shielded transactions. So it really depends on the framework. I think it's us trying to get a perspective on a specific number. No one knows. We'll get a rough idea, but I think you're down the right ballpark. We don't need a lot. Let's see. Pierre, have you ever looked at Smart Cash node cost 300? Pierre, no, I don't really look at. I don't really care so much about master nodes. I know Dash, for example, we were talking about Dash really uses them, and a lot of other projects do, but I don't really like the model of master nodes. And to be fair, I don't know enough about Smart Cash to talk about it. So, and Billie Jean, thank you for the hair comment. Um, let's see some love here for Nano. John Burnett, yes. Could you specify on the macro trends that you think will drive peer-to-peer crypto? The emerging market currency crisis. I'll give you a few countries. You can look into it for yourself if you like, or watch the video that I talked about. Venezuela. I hate to be beating a dead horse here. I bet a lot of you guys know this. But Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, and then a lot of other economies as well, like Iran, that are going through currency crises. And I think it's just going to be a domino effect. I think it's going to be extended for a little while. Might not be the end all for these economies, but it's going to be a big enough wake up like it is in Venezuela, where people are looking for alternatives, and the government will not react in time to keep people from looking at alternatives. Alexander, hey, what do you think about XRP and XLM? Well, if you're asking me specifically about the currencies, XRP and XLM, I still don't have a comprehensive view of, like, for example, if I were to approach it as like a financial institution, which one I would select. I think Lumens is a little bit underrated, and I think people are, again, in a market perspective, I think people are expecting that Lumens is going to pull like a Ripple. Because we've been seeing a technical pattern build. Let me go ahead and try and bring that up here on Bittrex. There's been a wedge building for quite some time. Many people are, I think, expecting for this to break out even further. So I'm keeping an eye on that as a trader. I think Lumens has a little bit more like market momentum potential in the sense comparative to Ripple. On the tech side of things, Ripple's technology is really impressive. And I got to be fair, like I love seeing money being saved anywhere, even if it's for banks. Like, if that can help remove the bureaucracy and it becomes a new protocol for the for removing or replacing SWIFT or traditional payment systems, fine by me. That's awesome. XRP, really don't see much value for it outside of the fact that you get slight discounts on, I think, certain transactions using XRP or certain features using XRP on Ripple's technology. And XRP is not a direct investment in Ripple's tech. Okay, it's very, very clear. It's very, very important to understand that. So not like having stake or equity in the network. Shalom. I have covered Pillar in the past. That's why I went to the Pillar conference, because I known about the project ever since they were in their ICO. At the time, really interested me, and I think the project, for a while, it was really interesting. But I don't know. There's not too much big updates on Pillar, and not to mention, it's not at the top of my radar, but I really do like Evan Siegel, who basically is working on the project, and we did the interview together. He's a really nice guy. He's got a smart view on the market. Can master assist? Will masternodes be the future for passive income? I don't believe it. I don't think masternodes are going to be a thing in the next few years. They might be on a few currencies, but I don't think it's going to be as mainstream as people think. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. It knocked me down a little bit on the chat. There was a comment I was going to read here. I don't know why. Did I get rid of it, or... I think I just updated it, so... here we go. Sebastian, can you expand on what Alex Mazinski said about the exchanges being the real whales? Oh yeah, Sebastian. I think of an exchange like a bank in a sense. When you have your money in a bank account, I'm going to be completely fair with you here. This is the biggest truth that people don't know. It's not your money. It really isn't. The banks get to manage that money while it's in their vaults. They get to lend it out. They get to do all sorts of things. They can sometimes, again, there's been different regulations over the past few years. Like, for example, most commercial banks can't take your money and just go invest in whatever, but they can lend it to people. and they lend it on interest to other people. Many times you might be borrowing from the same bank where you've got your money stored, and it could be your money being lent back to you at a higher level of interest. It doesn't make much sense, but that can happen. And exchanges are the exact same way. Exchanges are managers of money. They offer you the convenience to be able to trade and liquidate your currency into different types of crypto. And I think there's some benefits to it, but the best thing to do is to use the exchange as a service, pay your fees on your transactions, get it off. Because Alex, I think it could explain it best. He explained it in the video, in the podcast, probably much better than I can. But basically, the exchanges have been caught in many cases working towards liquidating the people, like front-running people in liquidations on their exchange. Some of their own people who are using the exchange and putting their money in the exchange, being able to pretty much squeeze them out of their trades. So it's quite upsetting. BitMEX has been caught with this more than anything, but Binance and others, I think, again, I can't make any claims officially, but there's been quite a general consensus amongst people who are active traders that this is going on right now. So what are your thoughts on efficient market theory, and does this traditional market theory apply to crypto? Efficient market theory, I'd have to spend some time to look into that, Sasho. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what efficient market theory specifically dictates. We can look this up real quick, and I'll see if I can make a response on it real quick. Always eager to learn. Is a theory in financial economics that states that assets price fully reflect all available information, the strong form of the efficient market hypothesis, or I guess the same as theory. Additionally, claims that prices instantly reflect even hidden insider information. I want to look more deep into this before I really make a claim. But towards that topic of, a price, for example, we're taking a look at Lumens right now. Is this a completely justifiable valuation off of all collected information? No. The reason I'd say that is because I've seen cryptocurrencies be completely toyed around by market makers. Now, again, this is not the stock market where there's much more liquidity. This is a cryptocurrency market. When the more liquidity you get, the more realistic, I think, price tends to get, or at least is much harder to stray away from the fundamental information. And some of that information can be hype. It can be excitement. It can be speculation. And I think that, if the efficient market theory is focusing more than anything on being based on pure fundamentals, no, cryptocurrencies are not based on fundamentals at all, at least at this stage. And factoring in insider information, yeah, maybe. In most markets, there's people who have insider information. It's a matter of whether they are trading on it or not. But yeah, I'll have to think about that, Sasha. It's an interesting point to apply a specific theory like that to crypto markets. I think it's like a lot of markets, but it's an early market which is prone to manipulation and misleading investors in a lot of cases in regards to controlling price. So I said to take a look at Dash. Yeah, Dash has declining volume. It's got luckily it kind of came down around to the 50-day. I was hoping it would do that. That's good. It would be a question of getting above the 100-day. Mr. Magoog said, buy the dip on the Venezuelan Bolivar. That's funny. Sasha simply says that you can never beat the market. Yeah, it's an interesting point. I think, you can... It would be interesting as to what you're referring to as the market in that case. The market itself, yeah, markets are always fully unpredictable. They're not fully predictable by any means. Anything can happen. Black swans can happen. Things that come out of nowhere. But yeah, there's ways you can beat markets. That's how people make profit. But again, there's always a hint of speculation with any investment. keeping your money in a specific currency, there's speculation. You're trusting that that's going to retain value. And the same goes with like precious metals, right? Like you're hoping that, I think when most people buy gold, they also hope to see gold go up in value over time. Some of that can be simply because of when they see it in the dollar value, say, oh, see, gold's going up. Sometimes it's a pure fundamental aspect of the dollar losing its value, gold retaining that value. And also there's speculation in these markets. Even inflation adjusted, you see gold go up and down, silver go up and down. Everything has a speculative nature to it. Dan B, no, I haven't actually worked on a video on storage options of crypto. I think a lot of other YouTubers, to be fair, have already talked about that quite well. But I recommend cold storage, and outside of that, if you're not going to use cold storage, using well-tested wallets on like your desktop. And mobile wallets are fine for a slight amount of money, but if you have any serious amounts invested, cold storage is usually worth the investment. Tag Smith, what do you think of Novograt's recent prediction that Bitcoin has reached its bottom? A lot of people are at that conclusion with 6,000 because it seems every time we reach there, there's some large buy orders that come in on exchange. And a lot of people speculate that that's the miners because when you kind of average mining costs together, you get a rough figure around $6,000 to mine a specific, just one Bitcoin. So I think a lot of people are doing that because it's simply just more profitable to acquire the Bitcoin at those prices rather than mine it. So Florin guy, yeah, I think the bears will go away the moment Bitcoin passes anywhere above the 200-day. I'd say roughly around 8,000 to 9,000. I've seen the bears go away after Bitcoin goes from 6,000 to 7,300, and everyone flips to bulls, and then it flips right back down to bears, and all the market's manipulated. Yeah, you know, I don't really get caught playing in those little small swings. I'm much more set on riding another one of these if we can get it, but I don't think we'll get that big of a leap in valuations just yet. Homosexual, don't beat the market, join it. Cam Z, what are my major investments outside of crypto? To be fair with you, I really don't have too many major investments at the moment outside of crypto. The ones that I'm eyeing at the moment would be commodities for the most part, and that's not just gold and silver. I'm not being a gold or silver bug, but I really think commodities, I study macro trends, and commodities have not been this cheap comparative to the S&P 500 since 1970. So you talk about a killer possible opportunity there with commodities outperforming equities, potentially with equities going into a downturn. But I think crypto is going to play into that as well. Brandon, I haven't heard much about Monaco. Monaco and 10x have, unless they've changed this, and I haven't, so I can't speak on it fully. Last time I checked, the reason why I lost a lot of faith in these more debit card crypto cards is because that they rely on a centralized company to give them approval. They depend on Visa, MasterCard, one of these large payment providers to let them have a card that uses their network to actually process transactions and use their payment gateways. And as we all know, I think it was Wavecrest or whatever the company was that was helping them get their licenses is been cut off, so they can't actually do crypto cards anymore. So I don't know. We'll have to see. It's a cool idea, but I think people are going to just get very comfortable with using QR codes. Let's see. Tone Lock, talking about Bitcoin dominance. Let's go ahead here, take a look at CoinMarketCap. Yeah, I think, let me see real quick. I can't see the full chart here. So one thing that I always recommend when you're watching waves, guys, for kind of like longer term trends, many people would ask, is Bitcoin dominance going to keep rising here? And I will not sit here and tell you it's 50-50. That would be redundant. I would say that it's most likely not going to be rising much further from here, because we've already had a well-formed run-up on Bitcoin dominance, but you're starting to see sharper declines in Bitcoin dominance here. So for example, other coins made a rebound here. Ethereum has made a rebound over here. You're starting to see that other coins, or generally altcoins, are getting a little bit oversold. Some projects still have got a long way to go. They have no fundamentals, not going to deliver anything, nothing unique. Some of them, however, do have some interesting tech. Some of them do actually have real community. Some of them have real potential use case. But Bitcoin right now has definitely held strong in this market. And again, at these moments where Bitcoin has gained massive dominance, a lot of people are switching out of their failed altcoin positions, when in reality, they're playing 2 steps behind. Someone's switching out of Bitcoin into more riskier positions at these lows. So I think the best way to look at macro trends is when you start to have those sharp declines in confidence for Bitcoin that rebounds in altcoins. You can start to see, for example, over here, prime example before December. I'll go ahead and I'll focus in on this part of the chart here. It's going a little bit slow, but let me go here. So you can focus here. We'd had the decline in Bitcoin dominance throughout the year. And after a while, Bitcoin had recollected on some good gains, but you start to see sharper declines here. Whereas again, every time these are testing the confidence levels here. And then you go back to a steady uptrend, start getting some parabolic movement, sharp decline, breaks on the uptrend. And again, when you start to see those sharp breaks, you can start to be more confident that FOMO's kicking in, trend is reversing. Same goes and vice versa. So when you start to see a flattening here, you start to see these sharp little bumps in Bitcoin dominance. Look what happened. And we'll go ahead and extend the chart here. So now we go take a look here post-January. Start getting some big bumps here. Bitcoin dominance remains flat. Trend reverses, right? Comes back down, finds support at an even higher level, flattens price, trend reverses. So Andy Corin, uranium and sugar. You playing Fallout? I haven't started investing in sugar just yet, but yeah, I'm close to having uranium fever if we get a breakout soon. Ken Mastersis, Nick, how did you learn to read charts? By watching YouTube, or did you learn from someone? Watching a crap ton of YouTube videos, reading a lot of books. There's a lot of great traders out there. Most of them I learned from traditional markets, but there's some great people in the crypto space as well. It's just about finding people who are consistent, explain things well, and really getting, again, testing it over and over so you actually learn about these patterns. So Aria, so would that be like an Elliott wave? Yeah, Elliott waves, Elliott waves get a little bit overhyped. They are good. They are applicable in trading. The reason I don't use them all the time is I think you can spot Elliott waves a lot of times in markets, and sometimes, again, it's the same with TA. TA is very subjective, but Aria, I'm pronouncing your name right, I apologize. I appreciate the donation and the question. Towards your question, yes, it is very similar to Elliott waves. You can tell pattern changes and tones in the markets with varying degrees of confidence. It's like a head and shoulders pattern, for example. Same exact thing. Like the reason the head and shoulder pattern starts to simulate fear is because you have the initial breakout, pullback correction, a level of support, further breakout to much higher parabolic levels, exuberance kicks in, and then you have a collapse down to that support level, and you try to see, okay, can we break out even higher this next time? And if you just get a short bump like you did the last time before you had the major rally, that forms a head and shoulders that signals, oh, investors aren't buying like they used to, and then you have a longer term downturn. So I hope that explained it well. Ken McMahon asked, I'm serious, what do you think of COW, the agricultural livestock ETF? Let's go ahead and pull that up here. I've never looked at COW before. I didn't know I could actually just go, you know what? It's a Canadian ETF here. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time. We need to look at the cows. I think the cows are underestimated. It doesn't seem like there's much volume for the ETF, but look at the cows, guys. They're doing fantastic. I'm just kidding. Yeah, agriculture, so I mean, that's always going to be a business. And it's getting more demand as Asia starts to develop. I think you'll probably have a general cool down in agriculture markets, and then you're going to get another boost when African nations start to develop and South America continues to develop. It's as more people enter in the middle class, the amount of meat that you eat is much higher. Move for America. A bog move. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and answer a few more questions here, seeing as we're getting close to 9:30. Want to remind you guys, as always, again, you guys can happily join the Discord, as always, ! Discord, if you guys want to hop in. But, yeah, I'll go ahead and, I think if I type an ! Discord, I'll get you guys, I'll pop up a link for you. Let's see here. Do 2 more good questions. Robin Hood, imagine being rich by investing in cow. That's what used to define wealth a long time ago when agriculture was everything. If you had a cow, and even and actually that is still true in a lot of Southeast Asian, or just generally in Asia. If you own a cow, and you're kind of, if you live off of agriculture, your cow can be everything for you. And back, cows are proof of stakes. Oh my gosh. Interesting. Christopher said that in 2017, the meat industry experienced the first decline in sales ever. I'd like to look into that. That's interesting. Matthew Ferris said, timeline getting rich off of Dogecoin. I'm interested in what's Doge been doing. It's all just a big market maker game. Yep, that's up to the range that it's not hard to look historically and realize, oh, yeah, that's probably not the time to be bullish. Gavin Lewis, when will this bloodbath end? I think that's what's on everyone's mind as a recent, and I wish I had the exact answer for you. But I'd say that once you get past the 200-day line of resistance here and the moving averages, so you're going to have to do then the reversal of those steps. So you're going to have to get past the moving averages, the 50 and the 100-day, get past the line of resistance and the 200-day. That will be resilient confidence that this market's got at least a little bit of ways to go for a while. We'll cut out the bloodbath, to say the least. Milo said, that's how I bought my wife. Cost me 2 whole cows. Oh, man. Super-O, I think this is a good question. I think this is what a lot of people feel. Do you ever feel you need a break from crypto? Super-O, if you're asking me personally, I would say not so much a break from crypto, but I have other interests. Like, for example, a lot of people think that I'm talking about traditional markets because, Nick's lost his interest in crypto. I still love crypto. There's not much going on right now, and I'm trying to do as much productive stuff as I can. Not to mention do things that I morally believe are the right thing to do. I've realized there's a lot of BS in the space. You need to get that out of the space before I feel comfortable really talking about a lot of the new projects coming out. For me, I'm trying to concentrate towards providing the best value. So I'm not so much tired of crypto, or don't really feel I need a break. I love it. I think crypto's fascinating. I think a lot of people, again, love the speculative side. I like it. We're obviously taking a look at price here. Price is fun. Investing's fun. But more than anything, I like finding potential in markets. Not only speculative potential, but fundamental potential. And I love what's going on in crypto. That's why I recently had announced that I'm working on Project Genesis, which is going to be a crypto project that I want to work on over the next few years. So I'm getting started on working on that. But yeah, and I live and breathe crypto. I hope you don't feel like I've abandoned crypto, guys, because I still love it, still making content, but I don't want to regurgitate stuff to you guys. If there's not much going on, at least anything of substantive value, and prices moving sideways, and there's not any really big developments, I don't want to bog you guys with unessential information, even if it means that I might make extra ad revenue, or I might retain some of my audience. I'm sorry if that. I hope that doesn't make people want to leave the channel, but I don't want to filter you guys with stupid information. I'm always going to keep it real with you guys. If I find something of value, I'm going to share it with you. If I find a trend, I'm going to share it with you. And I've seen that a lot of people like learning about traditional markets and also commodities. I guess that kind of fits in traditional markets, equities like stocks, and then also commodities. And also just kind of getting a big picture view of the world as well. I did that video on the Rothschilds and stuff like that, and I think that kind of stuff's interesting from time to time. Change things up a little bit. Colm, are vegans bears on cow or cow bears? That's funny. I like that. Yeah, I could see a way for a vegan to invest would be to short livestock. That's funny. Chris Otis, that is very true. I've always, one thing that I think more than anything, not so much, I know it's a very controversial topic, veganism and eating meat and stuff. Well, I will say that if I were to ever go vegan, the reason would be the environmental concerns tied to it rather than so much, and possibly some health concerns. I think it's dependent on your full-on diet where some of the health concerns come in. So if you're consuming high carb and high fat, high fat being from the meat, and high sugar, high carb being from carbohydrates such as soda, grains, things like that. If you mix those, I think that's where the health negatives come in. But you mentioned it takes 600 gallons of water to make one hamburger. That study has still yet to have a real big dispute on it. I haven't seen anyone really debunk it. And I know how much water gets used in the agriculture process, not to mention the amount of grain that has to go into feeding one animal. And the energy that you get from that burger or that piece of meat is nowhere near the amount of energy that animal had to consume and stuff. I learned all about this in environmental science, which was one of my favorite forms of science. It's very applicable. It's real in the business world. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do this last question here. We'll find one here, and then we'll call it a night. Brian Riley, this won't be the last one. Where did you decide to move? I haven't moved yet, Brian, but I will let you all know when I do. Kevin Lewis, Nano and QTT, both are great IPOs. RH IPO coming soon. Interesting, Kevin. I'll have to look into that. I heard Nio is the Chinese Tesla everyone's been talking about. I actually got... geez, man. People are all negative on it. Look at the boost that thing got. Wow. That is a nice post-IPO rally. I was actually looking at potentially trading it a little bit, but there's all these articles coming out negative. I think Zero Hedge had a negative piece on it. I don't know. People, when you get talking of the next Tesla, I'm starting to get those crypto vibes of the next, Ethereum. The other one you talked about, QTT. I'll look into that real quick. QTT. I don't know about this company here. Interesting. I'm going to have to look into these, Kevin. I appreciate you sharing that. Let's see here. Got one last good question in. knowing your experience, I'm curious of your thoughts on the job market. Are projects sourcing talent via specialized recruiters, word of mouth, elsewhere? Remote sales engineer here dreaming of an opportunity. Mr. Austin, I'll let you know what I understand from, I mean, everyone has different application processes for employing people, but what I learned is that for larger companies, they have an automated process. So, for example, there's some very serious mistakes that people can make on their like cover letters, for example. This is a very important, I think, very important technical thing to take away when you're writing your cover letter or you're writing your your resume in that case, is to make sure to use very plain fonts. Do not make a designer resume like that looks nice and everything, because if it's not in a clear font that they can read, if it's not in a familiar font that the automated systems that they build that filter through for keywords can pick up, your resume is going to get tossed out the door. That's a really big mistake that I wish they were more transparent on, but sadly a lot of employers do not inform people of that before they go through the process of collecting resumes. So very, very important to do stuff like that. I think that the big thing they use is automated systems, and then they go through a funneling process. But there's companies like Amazon that have crazy, weird application processes, and they have I've had friends who go through it. It's very, very weird. It's different for every company. But I think if you're wanting to work for a startup, they view things on more of an individual basis. The best way to win them over, send them a pitch deck of all your skills, the things you've built, the way you've used those skills, and then also tell them what you can offer to the company. I can tell you that's the best way to do it nowadays. Startups love that kind of stuff, showing the ambition. All right. But anyways, guys, I think we're gonna call it a night for the live stream. Seems like it's getting a little late here. We did a nice little hour live stream, just a little casual catch up with you guys for the day. Hope you guys are all doing well. Again, if you guys want, you can hop into the Discord, !Discord, hop in and chat with some people. I'll see if I can come in there later tonight, guys. But for now, that's going to be it for the live stream. Thank you all so much for watching wherever you are on the world. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Until the next video, I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.